Hey guys, it's me again. I'm going to go through a couple of things that we went through during the live session. Some of you guys asked me if I can make a video around how to incorporate some of the techniques and tools that I use within my trading strategy so that you guys can kind of go over that again. So in this video, I'm just going to recap on what we discussed with regards to the indicators and how you can utilize that to visualize your different sessions, and also how to use the openings of each of those sessions to uh, essentially define the liquidity pools or most likely draw on liquidity towards those areas. So first things first, let's quickly go through the list of indicators that I'm currently using. I want to move this up quickly, and then I'm going to go through from the top. So I'm using a 90-minute cycle indicator, which is ultimately a quarterly theory cycle indicator that basically takes up 90-minute cycles throughout a specific period of each different session. So a session is usually 4 hours, um, if I'm not mistaken. And then each of those sessions are then divided into equal quarters, if you will. Um, and then you can pretty much just set up the session A to be a specific time, starting at a specific period from when Asia session opens to where you want it to terminate or close. And then same thing for London as well as New York. So even though this tool is designed to actually incorporate that 90-minute cycles, I'm modifying it in such a way that it kind of yields a rather ranging period from the start of that session to the end of that session instead of using every single 90-minute cycle within that. You'll see after this, there is another tool that I'm using, which is the quarterly theory, which actually visualizes the periods of the 90-minute cycles um, for that specific session. So with that said, um, if you guys want to go through these settings, I have shared my screenshots with you, and it is in one of the threads on the premium course, or sorry, the premium chat. If you guys just go to the threads in Discord. So let me just quickly jump there. If you guys have a look here, there is at the top of Discord, there's a little threads button. You just need to be in the right chat window, otherwise that's not going to work. And then you can go to threads, and then you can go read up on the quarterly theory. That's where I got all my screenshots and all the settings that I'm currently using. Right, so let's just jump back quickly. Right. So really, this tool is just purely for a visual sake where I can identify the full period of the Asia session, the London session, and New York. Yep, that's what this one is for. A very important setting that you do need to make sure of is make sure that your time zone is matching to -4, and that is dependent on if you are, wherever you are in the world. If you look down here in the bottom right-hand corner of the chart, you'll see there's a time zone with UTC -4. So what I've done is I've just aligned my time where I am in the world, which is +2, to the -4, which is New York time. So now my chart is actually showing and drawing the candles the same as what New York time represents. And that means I know at all times that my 8:30 on my chart is essentially the correct 8:30 for New York Open, for trading. So that's very, very important. I would highly recommend you guys just do that. Just stick to UTC -4, which is New York time, and then set all your indicators that you are using to the same preference. So that goes for the 90-minute cycle as well as this one called MKT sessions. I'm actually going to jump into the indicators list and just quickly filter them out for you guys. So if you type in 90 minutes cycle, I'm actually using, let's just do that, space minute cycle. I'm using I believe it's the Sunwoo. Just double check and confirm on your side if it is the right one. If it's not, then just let me know and I'll point you to the right one. Then I have the MKT sessions. Under the indicators, if you go and look for FX market sessions by Boitoki, that is the one that I'm using as well. And then last one, but not least, is the Dyer quarterly theory. This one is really optional. That's if you're really into the quarterly theory principles. But the one that I'm using is the Dyer quarterly theory DQT Liquidity Pro by Liquidity Pro. So that's the three main indicators that I'm using. Okay, so now that we have that sorted, I'm just going to jump right into the settings for the FX market sessions or MKT sessions. Same thing, I've made sure that the time zone is set to New York time. And then the session 1 is London, session 2 is New York, and session 3 is Asia. There is a fourth session for Sydney, but I usually have that turned off because it's overlapping to other main sessions, the Asia and the London or New York session, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so with the London session, the settings that I'm using is this is 3 a.m. in New York time to 12 p.m. New York time. Then I have this set to extend the bar or the extension all the way to current time for that particular session for the 24-hour cycle. This is really optional. It just kind of helps to visualize the range of the high and the low if you are maybe not viewing a higher time frame structure. So if I turn this off just briefly, you'll see that it will clip and trim off. Let's just do that for the New York so we can see that blue one. It will trim off that light blue color so that it doesn't overextend into the right hand side. Okay. Then the opening range, I've got that set to yes for all of them as well. And the opening range is ultimately the first 15-minute candle that is drawn will be highlighted as the opening range for where liquidity resides. And this will happen for every single session. So every 15-minute candle, or if you're on a lower time frame, 3 5-minute candles or 15 1-minute candles will all be drawn as part of one 50-minute opening range liquidity zone. So you can go and customize it if you want to tighten it, but the default settings are generally quite good enough for me. Then scrolling down into the actual opening range settings for that checkbox that I've enabled previously, you can see there's the periods in minutes for 15 minutes. So it's actually using 15 minutes as an inclusive period for the opening range. The label size is set to auto. If you use anything other than auto, you'll actually see it just shows up as these. Let's wait for it to refresh. I think it's it's the current session overlapping with Linden is where you'll see it. So just scroll down again, just pull this off to the side. You'll see here it says label size is small, so that high and low. This is essentially the opening range high and low. 15-minute candle structure. So if you set it to normal, large, or huge, these will just be amplified, and it's really just a distracting type of thing. So I've gone and put this to auto, which keeps it super tiny, super small, and it's technically kind of hidden. You can go and change the names and the labels of the high and the lows if you do end up using the label size, but realistically, that is not something that makes sense to me. The other settings really you're not going to use. You can go and look into it if you want to read up on some of that. You can go into that. And there is alert visualizations if you want to trigger when it breaks above or below or enters into the zone. But again, it's not features that I use for this particular indicator. So London is 3 to 12. New York is 8:30 to 1700. Then for the Asia session, it's 1800 to midnight. And that's it. That's all you need for this particular one. Last but not least, the DAI quarterly theory is primarily showing you four quarters. So it's the gray, which is accumulation, the red is manipulation, the green is distribution, and the blue is either continuation or reversal. So ultimately, what you're looking for is if you're trading, you want to trade after any manipulation phase. So when there's a manipulation phase, you want to wait for that to end, and then you're looking for on a lower time frame to enter after the manipulation phase inside the larger distribution phase. So green with green is a good place to potentially enter a trade. It does not mean that you shouldn't take any other trades in other areas. It just means that during distribution you have a higher probability for manipulation to have already taken place and your alignment to be in proper structure with a higher time frame bias. So that's a nice little tool to visualize as well. Okay, so now that we have the indicators sorted, I now want to go into the next session, but I'll do that as a separate video. I'll see you guys there.